Hello? Are you able to hear the music? Yes? Okay, good. OBS updated and it's fancy. The audio mixer got fancied up. Look at that streak. 145 consecutive streams in a row. Yeah, the audio mixer now shows you there's like a little badge at the top that indicates if it's like global. Not totally sure what that means. I only have 3 audio sources. Desktop audio, global, mic, global, and then my alerts, which it says it's like it's kind of muted and it says active, but it's like okay. I guess it's because it's not coming from, or the other 2 aren't coming from like a source. Nope, it doesn't do that, and I don't think it's OBS doing it, honestly. We may never know. It also has a button now for listening, I guess. So like right now, it's set up to where if an alert goes off, it also broadcasts it out so I can hear it. But the other 2 have that off, so I could hypothetically turn that on if I so wished. But there's also a drop-down menu straight from the thing as well. It's all nice. It seems nice. A lot of this stuff was buried in menus before. So it seems like a big improvement. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's gonna probably be unlikely on life. That's gonna be unlikely. But the VODs will always be there for you. I wish you luck with the surgery. Hey, Lindley, thank you for those biddies. Very much appreciated. Today was kind of a fucko day. For anybody who might be unaware, there was this vicious windstorm in the Midwest. Just a windstorm. And it's been windy as shit all fucking day. Just non-stop. Yep. I didn't lose power for an extended period of time, but I lost power many times. I had to fucking basically reset up my computers entirely over here. What? Oh, I was gonna say, you just said it landed on our family's cars. You didn't ever indicate what. I was looking all up and down like, what did I miss? No, you're good. The temporary confusion. I guess it's not beta release anymore because I'm not on a beta channel. So it must just be release now. But yeah, my shit was all fucked up, as you might imagine, because like everything went down. So my carefully balanced, teetering on a knife's edge streaming capture setup was fucking blown to smithereens. Yep. So I had to reconvince my gaming machine here that it could be 144 hertz, which for future reference, if I ever forget again, which I'm sure I shall, the answer was, you know, restart again. And it was quite a rough day of navigating the power going out and having like a lot of meetings. So I had to like go tether and laptop and just like I had a 2-hour road mapping call that I had to run. And meanwhile, in the background, my lights are turning on and off, and the dogs are losing their minds. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. This was a real Friday the 13th for sure. Yeah, that's what I thought, Grid. That is what I thought. You got a fucking nearly a foot of snow? Jesus Christ. I'm being barked at already? Come on, man. And unfortunately, I think that I think work is finally going to corner me into having to use AI, which fucking sucks. There's an inevitability to it. I don't know. It's so, as I've said before, like as far as companies go, mine isn't that bad, to be honest. However, this was like, just let me paint the picture for you why this is difficult. And it's just a difficult needle to thread for me. First of all, there's no world in which I can like come out and be like, hey everybody, I'm anti-AI. And in fact, I'm as anti-AI as you can probably be. I'm pretty sure everyone would immediately identify me as the Antifa headquarters and turn me into the government, I guess. Or I think the moment that I do something like that, my days of employment are probably numbered. Not because like everybody is really over the moon about AI, but more so that like I think it would be perceived as I am a barrier now. You know what I mean? Like if there is some benefit or advantage to making use of it, well, clearly this guy isn't going to do it for us. So, you know, yada, yada, yada. So that's something that I have not done. I have not at any point come out as like, I'm anti-AI. I have expressed my misgivings here and there and pointed out stuff that I think that anybody could understand is like a reasonable thing to point out. Like, hey, you should, you know, be careful with the outputs. Make sure that you review everything. This shit is often wrong. You know, blah, 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 blah. And also, whenever someone does use it and dumps the output somewhere and it's like obviously and noticeably wrong, I always jump at the chance to fucking be like, the lying bot that lies about everything lied again. But yeah, I can't be myself. And I think that's pretty obvious. I have not seen a story about a Chipotle bot, but I'm curious. So anyway, so you have that now. You have that foundation here. So there was always sort of like my days of resisting this are numbered. I really need to keep my job. And basically it happened today where it was like the CEO told me directly to start digging in. I think that he detects what my reality is or what I think. I just want to do good work, man. And I don't think that using the lying machine that always lies is really going to help me very much. But we have like a totally separate engineering team under the same roof. So I'm going to meet with the lead there and get their, you know, pro tips and tricks and whatever, and try to make a visible effort and you know, I guess the reason that I am not like the way that the CEO said it to me was reasonable in the explanation of like what his thought process is, which is the fact that we have had proposals that we did not win because our proposals are expensive. Now, you know, from my perspective, it's because we're premium and we're doing the actual job we're tasked with. But he's saying that basically that's just going to keep getting chipped away at and chipped away at, and we won't be able to win proposals unless we can. I mean, basically what he's saying, and I suppose it is just the reality of things, we have to make less money for doing more. That's what it is, which is always, by the way, like, this is why it's always a lie. It's always bullshit Always. I don't know why anybody even tries to say this lie, that if there's any like new technology or new productivity gains, that somehow the workers will benefit. The workers will never ever fucking benefit. That's never happened, and it will never happen. This is what happens always. People who benefit from the savings won't want to pay the same amount that they used to for services, or they won't want to pay the wages for the work, or blah blah blah. They're going to say, well, you can do it faster with this new productivity gain. And it's all a real big fuck show too, because of the fact that a lot of this is faked. It's the benefits of the AI models are not that significant. But for some reason, there's a lot of programmers out there that just, I mean, unless things have really drastically changed in the past few months, there's a lot of programmers that seem to just sort of lie. They always say, like, I'm 20 or 30% faster. And I don't know if that's just ladder climbing, like, or if it's truly perception. Like, just their honest perception. They think that they're, you know, so whatever. There's been studies that have shown, like, people think that they are this amount, and it's generally 20 to 30% more efficient, but in reality, they are less efficient. You know? Ugh. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's Dunning-Kruger. I don't know. To me, it seems quite obvious that it would be slower, because you have to, first of all, guide the thing to do what you want it to do, which would be the thing that you would be doing. And then if you manage to get it to do the thing that you would have done, you still have to review the thing that it did to ensure that it's actually the thing that you wanted it to do, and also that it's not a totally fucked up bullshit mess. Which, according to the research that OpenAI themselves did, 40% of the time, it will be a completely fucked up mess. Or not the whole thing, but everything you do, 40% of it is going to have some kind of hallucination. It's going to have some fucked up, incorrect stuff. I don't know. I don't know if they would know. I mean, I've heard horror stories of companies that like monitor the usage, you know, and they decree that everybody has to do a certain amount. That hasn't happened. So yeah, also the fact that you become dumber just by using them. Because you're not doing the thing that you used to do anymore. You're having something else do the thing. So you're gonna, it's like you're not doing the thing. And what happens when you don't regularly do the thing? You stop knowing how to do the thing. It is pretty natural and expected, if you think about it. One thing I do think is funny is how much the people who are like big proponents of this stuff think that it's an art or a skill. Well, you don't want to fall behind. You don't want to fall behind. You fucking kidding me, man? Any idiot can sit down at any point and just go latest Claude code and then just start doing the thing. And they love to act like the stuff that they're doing is fucking rocket science. But it takes like one video. Which I think kind of tells you, I mean, I don't know. They would listen to what I'm saying right now and say that I'm an asshole and I don't know what I'm talking about. But like, it doesn't seem like there's anything to it other than like prompt a little differently. I like to do the thinking part of programming, and the LLMs don't even do that. We've built a dysfunctional society. Or this sort of stuff has emerged at the worst time possible, as far as our society is concerned, right? Because we have this society, I mean, American culture at any rate here. American culture is very much built on the back of the defeated worker. It's everybody for themselves, and so everything is a scramble to bend yourself over backwards until you break. You won't be rewarded. There's a false belief that hard work matters, but if you actually look at the very obvious fact of how people win and lose in our system, fucking hard work has nothing to do with it. But we punish people over this perception of whether or not they work hard or not. Constantly. Just a terrible, terrible fucking time for this sort of stuff to emerge, where we don't have any sort of like unity or solidarity. No one cares about each other. And, or if they do, they're in such a situation to where it would be too costly for them to engage in any sort of like resistance or standing together or unity about stuff. So the workers just end up willingly diving on grenade after grenade after grenade, but not to protect anybody. They just keep doing it because they feel like they don't have any choice but to do so. Right? Like, I'm definitely in some sort of a 0.000001% group of people who just willingly chose to reject this stuff. And for the most part, people have just embraced it, regardless of the obvious downsides, and often to their own detriment. The thing that irritates me the most about being cornered into having to use it is the thing that is the most, the thing I care about the most, which is the fact that, like, you know, every fucking time you use one of these fucking things, I just saw someone, there was a number put to it. I forget exactly what it was though. It's like every time you use it, it's like running a microwave for 10 hours or something like that. Just nonstop for 10 hours. I don't have any of like the real numbers on that shit, but I am aware at least of the fact that like this is just a massive waste of resources. I just have many ethical objections to all of this shit. I also find the fact that it is all built on the theft of everyone's data to be a strong one for me as well. Even though, for whatever reason, everyone hand waves that away. I feel like I'm one of the only people who thinks that that's like a serious problem. Everyone hand waves it away or says the genie's out of the bottle or da 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 da. I don't think it has to be. I think if we just all agree that all of these motherfuckers should be in infinite jail, we can make that happen. It doesn't have to be the genie's out of the bottle. Put that motherfucker back in there. Let's just get together and put that stupid idiot back in his bottle. I'm owned. Oh yeah. I saw that that video with Ellison that was just like, that's the thing, is like all of this stuff, and I don't understand why this seems to be a seemingly like almost a worldwide psychosis. I don't know if I'm like alone in this view or whatever. I keep saying this stuff like I'm not a super fucking genius. Plenty of other people have realized this, all of these things well before me, and plenty of people talk about this shit. So I don't know why I keep using, you know, terms like I'm the one who figured this stuff out, but like I'm trying to say that it doesn't feel like it's a widespread observation that there's a sort of complete abandonment of the social contract, and not just in a sort of social way, but like everything. Like there's an increasing amount of like, actually the only thing that was stopping me from doing the most evil shit you've ever heard of was just that it would have been frowned upon. And that seems to be the only barrier, the only guardrails that we had in place that prevented lots of insane shit from happening. And it seems to be spiraling. It's like exponentially exploding, where, you know, like in the case of Ellison, it's like he wants to own everything just so that he can destroy it all. Just so that he can be like, I realized the other day I have everyone's private data, and I can do whatever I want with that. You know, like, it's kind of weird how it's like obvious in hindsight that there wasn't anything preventing anything like this from happening other than like the threat of societal expulsion or punishment or whatever. And that all of that can just evaporate. It can all just go away. It's all made up. And if enough people with enough power and money decide that it is, you know, they're not going to adhere to any of it anymore, they really can do whatever they want. And we can't do really anything to stop them, because I mean, physically we could, if we all decided, like, if we all activated like one giant sleeper cell. If somehow, you know, all 300 million plus Americans became a hive mind, in that situation we could probably surround Ellison and do something about it. But you know, beyond the list of things that will never happen, we really don't have any say in it. We're just kind of forced to watch everything kind of rot from the top down. Well, you know, most of us who share a belief in prison abolition really we had people in mind who are being abused by the system. I don't think that that's in disagreement with infinite jail for Ellison, infinite jail for Elon. permanent wall staring for Sam Altman, etc., and so on and so forth. You know, I think these things are in agreement. I don't think that they are contradictory or hypocritical. They line up kind of perfectly for me. We empty the jails, and then we fill one jail. I think we would only need one. Well, no, maybe we might need a few. Yeah, just pack them in. Pack them in. I don't know. It's a rough world. It's crazy shit. Every day it seems like it's getting crazier and crazier. Like, you know, we were talking about the Doge guys last night, and it's crazy how much seeing that guy's face and hearing the bullshit that he said instantly sent me to 11 of like, we need a new kind of punishment. We need something that shows this guy and everyone like this guy, everyone who thinks this way, that shit is fucking over forever. You know what I mean? Like something extreme. It's like I can't land on it. We need something cosmic. Because it's astonishing to me that there could be someone alive who's so insanely callous and unempathetic and awful. And the guy's, you know, barely in his early 20s. It just seems symptomatic of a complete collapse of our society, that we can turn out people like that. I mean, there was the story with the one of them that fucking downloaded a huge amount of Social Security data onto a fucking thumb drive, and then they took it to their new job, and they were like, "Hey, help me upload this." And people at their job were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And turned him in. But it's like, how do you not understand the gravity? And it's a degree of disregard and narcissism and selfishness that's so off the fucking charts. Because this person just had the like livelihoods, the entire lives of hundreds of millions of people in the palm of their hand. They don't give a fuck. Because they hate everyone. They hate you, and they hate me, and they hate everyone who isn't them. They just don't fucking care. They're perfectly happy to destroy everyone else's life, as long as they benefit. And that's the sort of sickness that's infected every fucking thing. This infinite greed. Fuck you, got mine. It's just everything is that. Everything is gambling and betting now. Yeah, pure nihilism. I don't think I'm gonna last very long. I don't think I can be the level of angry that I am basically at all times, all day long, and also work around the clock every single day, all day long. That's not a good combo. Yeah, I mean, the fucking really obvious shit with Kalshi and Polymarket is that there's nothing at all preventing people from just going out and making the outcome that they want. And we already know basically that that's happened not just on like your average idiot level, which is also possible, but that insiders in the governments are absolutely definitely doing that. Where they know what's going to happen and they drop millions into a fucking bet right before the thing that they know is going to happen happens. Fucking, and there's never going to be anything that's done about it. And these are the same people who pretended to be up in arms about the fucking investing. Which I'm not saying that that's good and okay, but like, this is definitely fucking worse. I don't want a hobby. I think I want to be destroyed. I think I want to let it just wash over me and dismantle me and distribute my component parts wherever they may go. Sorry, that's just frustration. I just feel like overwhelmed. And also, I don't have time for anything. I just don't have anything. I don't have time for any fucking thing. The thing is that I don't feel lost. Food. The struggle I have with stuff like that is that I am not any good whatsoever at the necessary level of self-distraction or whatever that process is that like disconnects you from that which you find stressful. I feel like I'm pretty clear thought about it all. It's just that if you recognize genuinely the shit that's going on, like I'm just saying, like I can't turn it off. I know, I'm just saying, I know what it is. I'm just saying it doesn't do anything for me. It's like effectively meaningless to me. And I'm not trying to be at all contrarian or anything. I just like I can't accept the things I cannot change. And I wouldn't find that to be serenity. I won't find any peace from, you know, chanting to myself, well, I can't do anything about the war. I mean, yeah, I can't do anything about the war, but like, I'm not fine with it. I don't feel serene about it. And I don't think I ever will. Does that make sense? I'm honestly not trying to be a dickhead about that. I have thought about these things in the past in my life, and just they don't do anything to change or help or anything for me. I wasn't saying that either. I'm not saying you chant it to yourself. I'm not saying anything about you. I'm just talking about me and my experience in life. I can't like achieve a state of like not knowing the things that are bothering me, I guess. I am not explaining it very well, clearly. That's all. I've explored things like meditation, stuff like that. Or just tried to go like full distraction. But what I find is that I end up just sort of like, I have a facade, but it's a thin veil, and the thing has not really gone away for me. I can present as though it has gone away for me, but it hasn't. I have also done exercise, and it doesn't do anything for me on that front either. Hey, Bun Bun. Hi. You scratched my arm up real good, you know that? You did. Yes, you did. Now, Chew's yelling at me. Everybody's yelling at me. No, I haven't tried doing that. Hey, buddy, stop barking, please. There's no need to yell. I would say that maybe let's just put a moratorium on the whole, like, fixing me thing. I'm honestly not a fan. Gosh, whenever I have Bun in my lap, I cannot type. I'm not. I mean, I can, but like, she just she has to lick each of my hands over and over again. I understand that, like, people just want to be helpful and stuff. So, don't take it the wrong way, but like, on my end, it just feels like dismissive of like what I'm saying and or feeling, where it's like I'm being advised to, like, have you considered not, you know, or just whatever. So that's why I get a little defensive about it, or annoyed with it, I guess. Like, I think these things regardless, and it just no, it's fine. Don't apologize for anything. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just explaining myself. What are you doing, Bun 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 Bun? I don't think anybody was doing that, Sice. It's just... as ever, it's hard to explain. It's also a common dynamic in streams. Many a chat have tried to fix many a streamer. Which, again, I totally believe it's just, you know, coming from an earnest, you know, earnest place. It's... Right, bun? No, someone should try to fix this bun. I don't think anybody can fix this little walnut. What are you doing? Do you want to chase the... You want to chase the cat? The majority of my anger revolves around the unempathetic people. They really make me mad. They drive me fucking crazy. And they always have. That's not a new thing for me. Because they've always existed. Like the, just all kinds of different flavors of that, really. Like, this isn't one of the things that I'm, like, the most mad about, but it definitely was sickening to see the rapidity with which a lot of people dove on the whole, like, oh, we have permission to say the R word again now. And it just reminds me of, like, back when like anybody I don't know how to describe this. I'll just describe myself. I used to be a little, I kind of went down the atheist rabbit hole a little bit at around the same time that it was kind of a fad too. Fortunately, so for me it was like, oh, other people feel this way. And I really felt like super alone until I came across that stuff on the internet. But then, as the story goes, that shit kind of metastasized really badly. Like around like 2013, 2014, etc. And a lot of that shit turned into like the anti-SJWs and the Gamergators and whatever else. But from those days, I'm reminded of, you know, there was always the dunking on creationists and stuff like that. One of the things that stuck in my mind was somebody who had, like, called into a radio show or something. And, well, the thing is, Omni, they shouldn't. It's not that they're atheists and skeptics that they suck. It's that... it just turns out there's a lot of people who suck. I think what happened is that there was just a sort of, it attracted a lot of assholes because it was like, there's a component to it that sort of, I think, draws in the narcissist, because it's about, they interpret it as being smarter than other people, and those people who, like, they always say that, like, that's not logical. Like, they always are, like, rating things on whether or not they're logical. And that was, like, never... That always, to me, was like... Anyway, set that shit aside. Yes, it metastasized. It was bad. We agree. Suffice to say, I'm reminded of this thing where some dude had called into, like, a radio show of some kind or something or other, and I forget why. But they were questioned on, like, it was like a kind of like a radio debate, and they got onto the topic of stuff like where this person was asked, like, okay, so are you saying, like, if there wasn't a god, then you would, like, murder and rape and stuff? And they basically were saying yes. And that's what this shit feels like to me. It's like, so you were only not saying the R word because you were concerned about societal consequences, but not because you had any sort of empathy whatsoever at any point for anybody. You didn't care about the reason why. You just didn't want to get in trouble. You didn't want your friends to kick you out of the group chat or whatever it was. That was the only reason. But now that you think you have permission, which basically translates to that no, you're not going to get in trouble. So you think, I guess, from like a social perspective, because like no one was getting in trouble at any point, by the way. You just had social consequences, as you should. So, you know, it bothers me that there's so much of like life is like this, that there's so many people that just don't actually give a shit about things, and that it's just this a fucking stupid facade. I don't go back on the corrections. Like I was not perfect in my perception of things, and there's plenty of times where I have realized, where I've come to recognize that I was insensitive or I lacked perspective that someone else was able to impart to me. And I've kept those corrections. They've been integrated into the database, into the code base. Like these are like permanent changes for me. So I struggle to understand these people who just like pretend like this. Like you didn't learn anything. You just avoided consequences. That's it. You didn't learn a fucking thing. And it's bizarre too, because you don't need that word. There's like a million other words that are not so directly, denigrating of a group of people that you can use. There is that. There's people who fake wash their hands. That's not real. People are out here fake washing their hands. It's for your own fucking benefit at the least. I mean, like, it's also for everyone else's benefit, but like, this is such a fucking this is another thing I just don't get about like the broken brains of the like ultra selfish, where like they don't even do things in their own best interests. They're so. This is what I was talking about yesterday that I couldn't convey very well. Like the people who are so self-interested that it's somehow it inverts. Like you go beyond a certain point to where you are so selfish that you destroy yourself. It's weird, right? You would think that the most selfish thing would involve self-preservation. If you care about yourself and only yourself so much, why aren't you protecting yourself? But that's apparently how it works. But I mean, they just don't. I guess they don't have the capacity to make that extrapolation. They can't see more than one step ahead, right? Like, I won't do what you tell me. I go out, I get COVID. I'm a, 55-year-old lifelong pack-a-day smoker. COVID is a respiratory disease, and a bad one. Yeah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just like saying, like, even from the perspective of pure selfishness, like, if you don't want to be, empathetic, altruistic, etc., you don't want to be told what to do, you would think at the very least you would still, like, be your own kingdom, I guess. I don't know. I used to think it was learned, but I've been bamboozled on that so much that I don't know that I believe it anymore. I used to think that, like, my own empathy came from my experience. Like, at least that was the strength of my feelings about certain things was rooted in my perspective, in the experiences that I had and the way I was treated by other people. I was treated like this. I wouldn't treat someone else like this, because I know how it feels to be treated like blah, blah, blah. But then you can just witness people who are getting the hard lessons and it has no, and I mean, I guess it could just be that they just don't have the capacity to learn. And it is still like something that you can learn, but some people just can't learn. But if they can't, like, I don't know what was holding everything together before. You know? But again, that's like, it's not like things were fucking great at any particular point. So. That's just like a misperception based off of like current day constant chaos. But I mean, shit's been bad and has been for a long fucking time. And maybe it's never really been actually good. Yeah. Maybe they developed oppositional defiance disorder because there's nothing else. Like admitting, like, they're so far in, basically, like to recognize and acknowledge would be so mind destroying. But at the same time, they don't have any excuse me, They don't have any idea how else to answer to it. They don't have the cleverness or the wit. Because let's be real, they're bereft. They're starting from a bereft position, so there's nothing to pull from. That the only option really left is oppositional defiance, which does seem to underpin the whole like own the libs, you know. As long as I get to have eyes on, like as long as within my line of sight there's a liberal also being melted in the lava flow, then I'm okay with being melted in the lava flow too. What did you do with that one? The one that I was using that the cat turned into a... You threw it away? I don't know then. I mean, we are absolutely colloquially throwing a term around here, Kiki. It's not a real diagnosis. So, I mean, you're right to draw a line under that. So. It seems to. It's hard to describe it differently because you're witnessing these people who seem to be persistent in constantly making things worse without any real explanation or reason why. Hi.
Sounds like you guys are having a happy conversation.
I'm a monster.
So, I walk in, this was on the couch, and the t-shirt from last night was spread perfectly out.
I didn't even know that the t-shirt was there.
Me neither. Well, I thought I had put it in the bathroom yesterday. Confused.
Well, it seems like something raided the bathroom.
Yeah, but I don't know how.
I don't know how either.
So, yeah. There weren't any holes in it, but like it was perfectly spread out.
Huh. Animals. They're always getting up to some shit. I'm sorry I'm such a downer, folks. This is apparently this is another one where you really wouldn't guess it. I don't know, with like all Super Nintendo music, a majority of the time I will assume that it's RPG music. And I did that with this as well, but it's not RPG music. Ignore that command. This is from Maui Mallard in Cold Shadow, which I can't tell if... Oh, it's a Disney thing. Couldn't tell if it was a Looney Tunes thing or a Disney thing. The dogs are absolutely yelling. And the actual track is The Flying Duckman. Sometimes I don't know whether this is catharsis or if I'm just dragging everybody down or what. And I often want to talk about it, feeling like I have some kind of insight, and then when I actually do talk about it, I feel like what I thought were insights is more of like a kind of confused, rambling mess, as opposed to really anything interesting. So I don't know what that is with me. It probably is just, it builds up and then I gotta vent it off. Whoever called you weird for that, Rudy, is wrong. If that happened here, I'm sorry that it happened. What is the source of your music? I always go to this one playlist that's just relaxing, hours and hours of relaxing Super Nintendo music. Oh, they have a playlist on their channel. I should grab that one then, because this one I was gonna say it isn't very long, and it's like 12 fucking hours or 18 hours. But I should go look for that playlist though, nevertheless. Oh, it has less relaxing stuff. I see. I do like that this playlist is pretty chill. Yeah, I mean, it does feel good to chat about it with you guys and get some sense of solidarity. It's always reassuring, you know? It's also like I haven't had much time to like focus on anything that isn't work, and when I'm like working, I'm like listening to current events and stuff like that, and, you know, so it's like I'm just sort of refilling that tank, and then I'm not doing anything else to enrich my mind. I have no creative outlet anymore. Like, I haven't been doing the server stuff. I love talking about the server stuff and encouraging people to get on that bandwagon, but then I haven't been doing it myself of late because I haven't had any damn time. But I really enjoy that stuff. I wish that I could recommend it more, but I feel like, I don't know, it might still be somewhat accessible on the low end, but like we got blasted with costs, you know? So it's hard to even tell at this point, like if you're gonna do like a real minimal setup, how minimal that would actually have to be. I feel like the Discord replacement thing kind of ran out of steam quickly because there just aren't great options. Like we went through everything basically, and everything had pretty massive pitfalls. Nothing really seemed quite right. Stoat was maybe the closest, but Stoat doesn't seem very good. And it's hard to find something that's built by and run by somebody who isn't themselves potentially unhinged. Like Fluxer looked very good in terms of the quality of the thing, but I'm not so sure about the dude behind it. I don't know about that. And there was also the suspicious aspect of like, was it really developed in secret over many, many years? Or, you know, was this vibe coded up? I think people kind of came to the conclusion that the story is true, but I don't know. It's hard to, like, when your reason for wanting to get off of one platform is because of a massive violation of trust. It seems to me priority number one. And I honestly, I don't understand people really, because a lot of it seemed like people didn't really consider that as priority number one for getting on to other things. It was like, well, what were you mad about then? Why are you leaving? Don't you care? I mean, you do care, I guess. I mean, that was the reason, right? So like, why? I don't know. I find people confusing. It's wild how shit in that regard is also very rapidly circling the drain with that fucking law that happened in California where, like, I think it's by 2027 they're requiring operating systems and everything basically to have like age verification, and it's fucking absurd. Google's been doing wild shit with Android, and we just got onto the Graphene OS thing, and I'm like, man, oh man. I feel like more people should care about trying to escape all of this stuff, and you know, there was something I saw in Blue Sky that, like, it was an article talking about kind of ripping on people who turn to like analog stuff, who've been turning to analog stuff, and sort of kind of associating it with like fascism, which I don't think I really agree with that conclusion, but I understand the point they were making given this particular source they were talking about. I'm trying to find it real quick so I can talk more clearly about the thing. Except for struggling to find it. Hold on. Aha, here we are. Okay. Yeah. It was called The Rise of the Techno-Pastoral. So it's talking about an article that showed up in New York Magazine. And they say, published under the nauseatingly named section, Reasons to Love New York, How the Phone Ban Saved High School. It takes a weirder turn, seeming to posit that the problem with high school was that kids weren't gambling enough. Since the bell-to-bell device lockup, this is a quote, teens have rediscovered the simple pleasures of conversation and poker. That is weird. I agree that that's a weird article. But also, journalism is dead. So I would keep that in mind as well. Not completely, but there's a lot of shitty journalism right now. Blah blah blah. I'm trying to get to the point of this without reading you the whole thing. Basically, what this person drives at is that, like, everybody has some sort of nostalgic golden age in their past. And, you know, they wrote, examining this feeling has led me down an endless spiral full of wistful screeds pining for the bygone halcyon days of dial-up internet, cathode ray tubes, and iPods, all wrapped in the assertive yet distinctively unchallenging tone of therapized searches for wellness. Every tech detox testimonial and guide to quitting social media I found seems to, much like this NY Mag article does, revel in satiating the reader/viewer's presumed desire to return to the way things were in the before times. However, exactly when those times were is a notion that seems to fluctuate from person to person, generation to generation. Millennials sing odes to Discmans and early internet forums, while Gen Z, the people around my age, seem to take the iPod and MySpace as their respective muses. And then this is the part where they associate it with blah blah blah, one whose traits remind me of an enduring conservative ideal, the pastoral. And then it gets kind of like thinky. I should just, share the article for anybody who's interested, because I don't want to, I'm not tearing this thing down, and I'm not trying to take it out of context either. So, oh my god, am I not signed into Twitch? Hello? Oh my god. That's so annoying. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm just signing in real quick so I can just send this link to chat. Oh my god. So annoying. Okay. I saw that, Dave. I'm still a ways away. um, I'm gonna read to you the conclusion. Whether we're legislating or just personally negotiating what technology should do and how it should mediate the present and the future, the past should never be a golden idyllic standard we strayed away from. Our current issues have antecedents. As a great thinker once put it, quote, "You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you." That Kamala Harris thing, which, by the way, whatever. Moving on. Because fundamentally, even if I chose to opt for something more analog in my moments of leisure, my family will still message me on WhatsApp, my friends will still be on Discord, and the writers I enjoy will still be writing on Substack. I can't opt out, and it's likely you can't either. I want to find a way to exist in this world without enabling its worst habits. Let's find a way to make this work. And I just I can't get with that at all. I actually wrote to this author and I said, I agree with the idea of being cautious around blindly embracing a non-existent golden age of the past, but I can't say the idea of, quote, let's find a way to make this work, end quote, resonates either. The only lever we really have to pull is to opt out because they profit by our mere participation. I've put a lot of time into disentangling myself from systems I don't like, such as Spotify, because there is no other way for me to influence them. I cannot fix Spotify by using it, only by leaving do I have some tiny molecule of influence. That said, to your point, I don't then worship an iPod. And she said, that's exactly what I'm getting at, which immediately confused me because I was like, I'm disagreeing with you. I don't think that's exactly what you were getting at. Right? Am I crazy? And then she said, though I do disagree that it is possible to truly opt out. My job forces me to use WhatsApp, G Suite, and some other BS. When it isn't my job, it's my education, my friends, my family. Opting out is unfortunately not fully possible. Hence, quote, find a way to make this work. So, I don't know. I mean, no shade to this person at all. But you can't use these things and win in any way. There is no, in my view, way to make it work. I didn't continue. I had more thoughts, but I didn't continue because I didn't want to I don't know how much tolerance this person has for an ongoing discussion that is also basically in disagreement with their point. So I didn't want to browbeat them or annoy them or whatever. But I also don't know to what level, maybe I'm just unhinged. You know what I mean? I don't want to impose that on other people, but I just don't think, I think everyone should be trying to make an effort to get out. And I don't find it very convincing to say, oh, well, my friends will still be there. And okay, so try to convince your friends to leave. Come up with a way for your friends to use something different with you. Work together on it, I guess. I don't know. And work is a fair argument because I also have stuff that I have to use because of work. But I don't use it for anything else. It's all contained as the work stuff. It's a whole other identity that I don't care about because it's not me. It's just my work stuff. If that makes sense. So I don't understand on the one hand going at people for retreating from this stuff in maybe a way that seems, I guess you could characterize it as conservative. I mean, there's overlaps for sure. That's the whole MAGA thing is like a pining for a golden age that actually was like, you know, before civil rights and, you know, whatever else. But like, I don't know that choosing to use like an iPod or CDs and a Discman or something like that over Spotify rises to that level of conservatism, you know? Yeah, so I don't know how we got onto this. I've forgotten now. I guess it was just something I wanted to yap about. Yeah, I guess so. Right. Well, I mean, that's the course that the iPod took, Copper, right? The iPod didn't last long after the iPhone came out because it was sort of redundant. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. It sort of made sense as like a cheaper alternative if you didn't want to get the whole phone, but smartphones from then on really rapidly took over and made the MP3 player redundant, you know. It's only a handful of weird freaks, most of them probably named Doug, who like continued to persist, insisting on using their overly touched iPod. If you really cared, you'd have a Zune. Yeah, same, Sad Mac. Like, I have to admit though, like, obviously I indulge in a lot of nostalgia, and I have a love for physical media, and I do feel genuinely some feelings of like, on the one hand, I recognize that this stuff doesn't have any of the modern conveniences, and it's not reasonable to imagine that like people at large will ever use this stuff again. But some part of me does think like this is just better. But the source of my feelings isn't like ideological. It's just recognizing the reality of this world that we are changing into. I don't know, like maybe it's just I'm definitely willing to let go of the idea that like all technological movement is positive. I don't think it's positive that people don't have the ability to control their data. And I don't think it's positive that everything is becoming a rent-seeking operation. Where, like, you know, you don't get to control whether you get to see your favorite movie. You have to maintain a subscription forever to somebody. And even if you do that, you have no control over whether or not they're going to keep your favorite movie in their library. But the option for you to be able to have any control over that is slowly disappearing. And what'll be weird is if we achieve a sort of mainstream acceptance that is correct. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be obviously just totally normal and accepted. Like, you bought an album, you bought a movie, you bought a video game. That's your copy for you to enjoy as much as you like for as long as you have it. But we are headed towards a world where, like, nobody owns any of that stuff or has any control over their experience at all. Oh, I know. I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, openly and plainly, I have explained what my solution to the problem is. And I suggest that, you know, everybody get on board. I can tell you about all the fancy, beautiful tools that I use to sail my ship. The robots. There are many fine ways to sail the seas. And there are many magic words. Such as these. That can set you on the path to adventure. Shit. Shit. Damn it. Shit. Well, anyway, it's quite late now. I've gone a rambling on for too long. Folks, I gotta go. But thank you for indulging in some catharsis with me. And thank you for being forgiving of my bizarre, fucked up schedule and content. I hope you have a lovely night. I hope the wind stops blowing constantly and so hard. Be safe, and I'll see you next stream.